All right, the USA 1, Burkina Faso 0. The U17s opened their World Cup, the Under-17 World Cup, with a win against what I still think was a very, very difficult team to play against. Now, it wasn't the perfect performance. It really wasn't. And there are question marks and things that we have to talk about going forward. I think this may end up being one of the toughest teams in our group to play against, Burkina Faso, just because at this age group, at this level, oftentimes these African teams do very well. They're very physical. They make your life very, very difficult. Now, we didn't help ourselves on many occasions as well, but I think overall, this is a very positive result. This is a very positive result. Our two best players came up big in this game. Mathis Albert and Cavan Sullivan combined for the winner. And we did just enough. We got a little lucky at times, but sometimes you need luck. And sometimes you need to be able to win when you're not playing well. And that I think has been really good for this team. Hopefully for their confidence going forward. We have a lot to talk about, guys. It was nervy. It was hectic at times. We struggled to create. We were out muscled and out bodied many, many times by Burkina Faso. But overall, this is a huge, huge result in a game where you could say maybe we didn't deserve that. Maybe a draw was a fair result. But you know what? Well done to us. We got the win when we needed to. We created enough to win and got a little bit lucky not to concede. William Mera says, "Hi, Pete. Congratulations from Ecuador. I'm a fan of Cavan Sullivan and Albert Mathis." Yeah, it's Mathis Albert. But yes, thank you, William. Brandon says, "We escaped for sure, but Albert and Sullivan looked good." Yeah. Definitely lots to talk about here, Tack. What are your initial feelings after watching that game?
Well, I thought that the team did show flashes of talent and individual brilliance at times from a few players. We saw that from Cavan when he came on. The goal itself was one of those. Mathis Albert did a good job. The first half, we saw that from Carizo also in the first half, more specifically with Mathis Albert. But we didn't really look like a team.
Yeah,
At
and
any
that was
moment in this game, any moment, we
no,
didn't look like a team. It kind of felt like we pulled off this win because we just out talented them, which is great. That's fine. It's just that if we want to make a deeper run or a deep run in the U17 World Cup, at some point we're going to have to look like a team.
yeah. No, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot to question here. That was my big question mark about this group going in. And it's kind of been this group under Segares' entire tenure. Was there's a lot of talent there. They never really have looked cohesive as a team. I'm hoping that as the tournament goes on, the more time they spend together, the more training they do, this team will start to look more cohesive. But there are some question marks, particularly about that midfield, which we'll talk about, because we weren't able to get Albert and Carizo on the ball enough in order for them to be effective. So that is a big, big question, and how we handle that, I don't know.
Let me ask you
Uh,
one thing. Could we
yeah,
look less cohesive?
slightly maybe, but it's
Maybe,
not been
but
good.
probably not as the tournament goes, right? So I would say that we have, if we want to have a positive or optimistic outlook, it's that I think this team can only improve from here as the tournament goes.
Yeah,
And even with this shaky performance, we pulled a win. And we're pretty much through the group stage. We should be able to beat Tajikistan with some comfort on Saturday and
yeah,
build something from and build from there. At least we're not
yeah.
Canada. They lost to Uganda, right? So
Yeah, the African teams, they tend to do well in these under 17 tournaments. They just
but we
do.
beat the African team.
We beat the African team, which is, I guess it's a positive. Um, I think they really, our talent struggled to show itself too because they were such a physical team. Now, you can't use that as an excuse. Teams will play physical against you. You have to be able to find a way to deal with it. And I guess in the end, we did, right? It could have been a lot worse. They could have scored two or three. They really could have. They missed some chances that you'd think, wow, they've got to finish those. It is the opening game, and it was a tough game. So a win against this team is a huge, huge positive. But this team has to improve throughout the tournament, or we're going to be in trouble. Maybe the first good team that we face. Um, so hopefully we don't have to worry about the Czech Republic. If we just go beat Tajikistan on Saturday, or Tajikistan, however you pronounce it, then great, we're through. And then after that, let's see what happens.
I
I Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say what I want to see because supposedly we're gonna play a very weak opponent. They lost 6-1 to the Czech Republic. That can't be a good team. I would like for him to play our best possible lineup in this game. which
Yeah.
we can probably talk about it later in the stream, what we think it would look like. Completely trashed them. And then for the next game against the Czech Republic, maybe rest most players, and then the main guys, give them just like 20 minutes just to move around and
Yeah.
things like that, and keep their body
Yeah.
warm and sharp. So on Saturday, I would play the best possible line. I wouldn't rotate yet.
No, I wouldn't either. We need to go get that win, and then you seal your place through the group. And look, if you're winning 5-0 by, the 60th minute, sure, you can rest some of our guys. But I think it's going to be very important to also, this team needs to build cohesion, and that can happen as you play together more and more. Um, I thought our weakest link today was the midfield, honestly. Outside of Carrizo, neither Jude Terry nor Cooper Sanchez impressed me. I actually thought Kellen LeBlanc looked okay when he came on. Maybe you could give him a chance. But to be honest, I kind of wonder if Cavan Sullivan should play in midfield. Because I mean, you could play him instead of Berchimas, who was also not very good. He had one or two good moments, but overall, I would say Berchimas was poor as well. Maybe you give Jameer Johnson a chance on the wing. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of these other guys play, so it's hard for me to say. I'd say try somebody, give them a shot, see how they look. Um, but overall, I think our defense was poor, but they were also offered very little protection, and that is a concern. Because against a good team, our defense would be ripped to shreds if we play that way. So there's a lot of stuff for the coach to figure out as this tournament goes on. But I don't want to be too negative because we got the win against this is a tough opponent to play, very tough, and I think overall we were good for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, again, when we talk about this, obviously, I'm sure you would agree with this. The main goal of youth teams is for you to get 3 or 4 guys in each generation that can contribute to the senior team. And if you look at it from that perspective, it's still looking very good with this generation.
yeah,
You look at a lot
yeah,
of the players we mentioned, there's a lot of players that you look at, hey, 2030, 2034 World Cup, they are legit like candidates to be playing in those World Cups. And you mentioned a
yeah,
few, Mathis Albert for sure, Cavan Sullivan for sure, Carrizo for sure. The goalkeeper too, like at least shot stopping, he looked good. You don't
yeah.
think so?
I mean, his shot stopping was great. With his feet was the big issue,
Yeah,
as
but we
always,
don't
as
have
it
any
always
goalkeeper good at his feet. So
No, I know. I'm just saying that, like in 2030, is he going to really be a guy that you can rely on? You know what I mean? I think goalkeeper's also very young. In
I'm in
2030, he'll be
roster. I'm in
21.
roster, like a third
Oh,
goalkeeper.
like roster players. Yeah, better
Yeah,
than Bodri for sure.
we went through
That's
this.
not
Like
hard. You might
there,
be better than Bodri.
every single goalkeeper I saw in the TST was better than Bodri.
Yeah,
And that's an
yeah,
amateur tournament. So
yeah. So, we're not going to keep this too long. Should we talk a little bit about? Well, let's do the player ratings, and then we'll talk about how to line up against Tajikistan. So Aiden Stokes, I thought kept a clean sheet, made all the saves he was supposed to make, including one very good save in the first half. That could easily have been a goal. So I'll give him
Mhm.
credit for that. He did have two very bad giveaways with his feet. Um, so I'm going to bring him down probably to a 7 or 6.5 because I thought he made enough good saves for an 8, but then those two bad giveaways, I'm going to bring him down to 6.5.
Yeah, he got lucky those giveaways went unpunished, right? Because
Yeah,
it could have happened like Bodri against New Caledonia. I'll give him a 7. I'll stay with a 7 because I think the number one job of a goalkeeper is shot stopping. That's the number one job. He did that very well. And again, if he doesn't make that very difficult save in the beginning of the game and Burkina Faso scores first,
yeah,
probably would have been a different result. So
yeah,
I'll give him a 7. I thought he was good. What he needs to realize is he can't really play with his feet. So when it goes back to him, just boot it somewhere, get it out.
yeah,
That's what we need him to realize, which should be easy. The coach also, the very odd coach that we have, should probably talk to him about that. But I thought he was good, the goalkeeper.
yeah. You go first on Christopher Cups.
I didn't like his performance.
I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was shaky in the first half and then got better in the second half.
He
He
got
did
beat in
have
the
that
second half.
one.
That was going to be a tap in for Burkina Faso, and he was very
Yeah, he
poorly
was not goal
positioned.
side of his man.
I would say he had a poor first half. He had an okay second half with that one mistake. I'm going to give him a 5. Well, actually, 4.5. I thought it was below average. Again, you do have a point that they were a little bit overexposed, the back line. So I guess I'll bump him up to a 5 because of that. I do think that they were having a hard time because the double pivot in the midfield was not doing a good job, but I'll give him a 5. That's the best I can give Cups.
I thought Ramiz Hamuda was a little bit better than Cups. Didn't
Yes.
get beat as much. I'm going to give him a 7. There was one time in the first half where he got beat on in a wide area. But other than that, I thought Hamuda was actually pretty good. I'm surprised he
Mhm.
got pulled off. I'll give him a 7.
Yeah. Hamuda, I'll go with the 6.5. I won't give him the same as the goalkeeper Stokes. I'll give him a 6.5, but I thought it was a positive performance. Again, we rate from 1 to 10. 5 is average. So if you're above 5, that means you are above average, good, very good, perfect. So I'll give him a 6.5.
Pedro Guimarães, not good. Didn't
I'm a 4.
contribute much to the attack. Yeah, I think 4 got beat once really badly, and then the throw-ins were weird. Had some
Well,
like
one of them was reversed.
foul throw. Like, dude, you're playing at a World Cup. You can't have foul throws. I did think, however, that he was better than Gio Villa. Gio Villa was very poor today, I thought. I thought he was
Guimarães,
better on the attack than Guimarães, but defensively very suspect.
Guimarães looked a bit better when we shifted to the back 3 in possession. He tucked inside in the midfield. He looked
Yes.
better there than when he played purely as a wide player. Um, One game, not going to judge the guy too much because it's, but the performance itself from Guimarães is probably a 4. And Villa probably a 3.5, where he had a few good hustle moments in the second half. Villa, where he was
Yeah.
just like throwing himself on the ball, but overall, quite poor, undersized, got bullied a lot physically. So I'll give Guimarães a 4 and Villa a 3.5. I thought the fullbacks were not great today in general.
Yeah, I want to see what this team looks like against a non-African team because it does feel like we were physically outmatched. This team
Yeah.
really did. But we'll see what we look like against both the Czech Republic and against Tajikistan. Moving into midfield, and I'm just going to give Jude Terry and Cooper Sanchez. I'm going to give them the same rating. I'm giving
Agree.
both of them a 3. They were
Agree.
really poor.
Yeah.
Jude Terry, especially. I know he had a few good through balls in the first half, but there were times where he would receive the ball and then like his first touch was so poor and he was like bent over trying to control it and he needed 3-4 touches just to turn around with the ball. And I was like, dude, you can't be doing that. They were both really, really poor on both sides of the ball. Both sides. And they were one of the reasons why we didn't get Albert and Carrizo on the ball enough was that double pivot. They weren't able to progress that ball through the midfield quickly and incisively enough in order to get our dangerous players on the ball. And so I'm giving both of them a 3.
I'm just gonna copy and paste what you gave them, a 3. It can't do my. You could be a bit harsher, give them even a 2. They were probably the most concerning out of the whole performance because I think with better double pivot players, our fullbacks would have had better defensive performances. Our center backs would also have done better.
Yeah.
And maybe even the ball would have gotten to Albert, Carrizo, and Berchimaz a bit better, right?
Yeah.
So because we even talked about, I think it was in the second half, the ball wasn't getting to Albert and Carrizo at all in the
No.
second half. So
No.
yeah, I'll give them a 3. The double pivot, both of them concerning. It's still the first game, so they could still bounce back, but not a good game today.
Yeah. So Sean Hackett says between under 21 and U17, who's a possible 2030 upgrade? So you
Albert
mean the
for Weah,
players or the teams?
I think player. I think he's talking
Players,
about
I
player.
would say Albert Ferweah, possibly, right? We don't know for sure. He's very young. But that seems like you can see, even with him, even if he didn't have the perfect game today, every time he's on the ball, you see the technical quality, you see the vision, his ability to draw fouls, to take players on 1v1. He's raw, but I think he looks very, very good at this level, at this age group. Um, Upgrade for 2030. The problem is there's a lot of guys. You talking about the starting lineup or you're talking about squad players? Like Maxi Carrizo could be an upgrade on Zendejas, for example, right? But we won't. It's hard to say for sure. Possibly Carrizo, you could say for like a Zendejas, but not like I don't think Carrizo will be better than Tillman, for example.
Yeah, probably not. At least for now, there's no evidence now.
Yeah, there's no evidence now, right? So it's hard to say.
Also,
I
2030 is still young for these guys. They'll be 20, 21.
yeah,
So
it'll be
they'll probably
2021.
they'll probably be breaking into the roster, and then for the 2030, that's where they could replace those
Yeah,
guys, right? Then they'll be like
2034.
24, 25.
Yeah. And a lot of our guys are still young enough. Like if you look at the potential roster that's going to go to this World Cup, Only Tim Ream and Christian Roldan will have aged out by the next World Cup. And even Roldan will just be 34, 35. So you never know. If we're still playing Christian
I
Roldan,
mean,
I mean, it's just
for the role that he plays, does it matter if he's 35, 31, or 20?
no, no.
Doesn't matter.
So long as he doesn't see the field,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
He might even be better on his role when he's older.
Yeah, make him an assistant coach at that point.
Mhm.
Okay, let's finish this. Maxi Carrizo. I thought Carrizo, whenever he did receive the ball in the first half, was good, but we struggled to get the ball to him. And some of that's probably on him, but some of that's on that double pivot. We couldn't progress the ball into midfield. I'm going to give him a solid 6 point. I'll give him a 6.5 because he was better than average and you could see his quality, but he wasn't very effective most of the game. He was kind of quiet.
Yeah, him when he was effective was when he was combining with Albert in the first half. That's when
Yeah.
he was effective. I kind of want to see him, Albert, and Cavan starting fresh, right?
Yeah.
Because when Cavan came on, Albert was kind of gassed, Carrizo was gassed. So that's what I want to see. And I'll just go with the same as you. I'll give Carrizo a 6.5. The thing with him is just like a few other guys we mentioned, it was promising. You saw
Yeah.
that it was something there, and that's why I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday. I won't be able to watch it live. I'm gonna have to watch it on. I'll have to watch it on. Like I have to go to your Fubo account and watch it on tape. But I'll give him a 6.5, and more because also the ball wasn't getting there.
Yeah. That was part of the problem too. We couldn't feed him the ball. I'm going to go. Let's go Berchimas. You go first on Berchimas.
He was one of those that he was kind of inconsistent throughout the game, right? Had some moments of brilliance where he did like a nutmeg step over, but overall, I thought Berchimas wasn't good. Wasn't tracking back well. Got bullied very easily off the ball. Forced it too much at times.
I
I think
think
I'll
he
give him
had
a 5.
one or two good moments, to be honest. I don't think he had that many good moments. I thought he was largely ineffective.
So a
Like that
5.
moment where he beat his man 1v1 and almost set up a shot. And then he had that one sort of cut in shot from distance. Other than that, I don't remember Berchimas doing much at all. I'm going to give him a 4.
Maybe I'll be more generous and give him a 5. But just shouldn't be starting. I think off the bench he could be okay, but not
Yeah.
starting for this team. Which means you
Yeah.
probably need to play Cavan as the right winger.
Yeah, but then you still have double pivot problem, which we'll talk about in the next game. Um, Mathis Albert, I'm giving him an 8. I thought he was our best player by far. Clearly the only guy. He had a few times where he tried to force it and lost the ball, but he constantly drew fouls, set up a very good chance for Julian Hall, or a good enough chance with a very nice through ball, set up obviously the goal for Cavan Sullivan, and was generally dangerous throughout. I'll give him an 8. Well, not a perfect game by any means, but 8, very good.
No, yeah, I'll go with an 8 as well. He was the one drawing fouls for us in the first half when we talked about combining with Carrizo. He almost scored. It was a very nice play, very good touch from Albert.
Yeah,
The cross that he got the assist was a good cross, right? It could
yeah,
have found Julian Hall. It was close to getting Julian Hall, and then eventually found Cavan Sullivan.
yeah.
So probably the overall performance was around a 7, and I'll bump him up to an 8 with the assist. And I would say he was probably our most dangerous player throughout the game, Mathis
Yeah,
Albert.
yeah, he was definitely. That's why they just kept fouling him. Right,
Yeah.
every time he got the ball, they would just foul him. You go first on Cavan.
Well, before
Actually, Cavan
Cavan
didn't
Hall,
start. Let's do Julian Hall. Yeah,
4.
3.
4, 3. Yeah, I'm giving him a 4. Maybe it's generous. I thought he was better than the double pivot, but not great. There was also a moment in the second half that pissed me off. He stole the ball. He went down the right, and I was like, cross it. There's 2 guys. And he
Yeah,
shot it from an angle that the odds of scoring from that angle are extremely low. While the
yeah,
cross, if he got it through and no defender cleared it, it was a goal. It was a tap in.
yeah, yeah.
So good that he was able to steal the ball, but literally wasted the second goal right there, Julian Hall. And outside of that, he had 1 shot on target in the first half, which was okay, but he was very poor throughout the game.
I mean, they didn't get him the ball much. Let's be honest. But even when they did, he did nothing with it. No
Mm-mm.
hold up play, no combination. His runs were not great. Yeah, very disappointing from him. Now for the subs, I'm not going to rate really most of the subs that came on just because they were on very late. A lot of them were after the 70th minute. Cavan Sullivan is obviously the big one. You want to go first on him?
Yeah, so Cavan actually, I this is gonna sound weird. He didn't play that well, but he had flashes of talent, if that makes any sense. There was this one touch through ball that he put, wonderful pass.
Yeah.
There was the goal, which the first touch was brilliant, and then he finished. He got the job
Yeah.
done. But the overall performance of Cavan, it was very chaotic, and I get it. It's a 16-year-old coming into the game. We need the result, and he was trying to do a lot, and there were some very iffy moments with him. I thought his overall performance was more or less a 6, but he did score the goal, and I'll bump him to a 7. And I know people get caught with moments, so they're gonna want to hype up the one goal, but the overall performance from Cavan, I actually expect more from him, and we probably will see more from him because, like I said earlier in the stream, I want to see Cavan playing with Albert and Carizo from the get-go when they're
Yeah.
all fresh, rested. He came in, Albert could barely run. Carizo played a few minutes. He was also gassed and was subbed out. Um,
So to be fair, Cavan also only arrived 2 days ago, right? He
that
just
too.
got here.
That
So,
too.
it could be that, he needs some time to settle in, time difference, whatever. That's fine. Um, I don't think he was consistently as good as Mathis Albert. I think he looks very hectic on the ball. He'll try stuff, has poor touches, but then he'll have some nice passes here and there. So just inconsistent. But you scored the winner. Almost got Albert through on a really nice ball. I think 7.5 is what I'll give Cavan.
Yeah, and keep in mind that through ball that he put to Mathis Albert, if Albert wasn't gassed, that could have been a
Yeah,
goal. The problem was
yeah,
Albert was gassed. So that's what I said. I want to see Cavan playing with a fresh Carizo and a fresh Albert and see how that goes. The thing with Albert was it was very encouraging what we saw because there were moments where you could see, hey, he looked a step ahead of the opponent right there. It looks like he's better, and even his own players at times, some of the American players,
yeah,
and he was decisive at the end of the day. He got the
yeah,
goal, right? You can only win by scoring goals, and he scored the goal. And it was from close range, but that's not an easy goal. We talked about this in the stream, how most players would mess up that first touch. Most players.
yeah.
I
Or they
think
would just hit it first time.
which
They would just
team,
hit it.
which players from this team you think would have gotten that first touch right? I think Julian Hall would have messed it up, for example.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. Maybe Carizo.
Carizo,
Carizo and
maybe
Albert.
Albert. Carizo and
Yeah,
Albert would have gotten the first touch right. Everyone else in this team, I think they would have messed up that goal. So there's 3 players in this team that we think would have scored that goal. 3.
yeah. So, good for him. Good for Cavan. I hope we see him. I'm not going to rate Enrique Martinez lucky to be on the field, to be honest. Kellen LeBlanc, the other guys who came on.
What about the coach?
Let's talk about the coach. Uh, he got the win. Lineup, I guess, was fine, right? In terms of putting his best players on the field. I understand benching Cavan. Um, this team does not look cohesive. I will give him a 6 because he got the win, right? Against a tough opponent. The team is able to keep the ball, but was not able to really do anything meaningful with it. This doesn't look like a team that has fight. Like the under 20s, right? Even though there wasn't a lot of high ceiling talent on that under 20 team, you saw them every game pressing as a unit, fighting for the ball, fighting for each other. They looked like they had a really good team spirit. They were just hampered by an amateur goalkeeper. But this team does not look that way. Even when things are going wrong, they all look kind of lost. And then when you go to the sidelines, it's the exact same sort of body language from the coach. This was him the whole game.
Even when we scored.
Yeah, we scored, and it cut to him, and he's like, he looks like a zombie. I'm like, bro, you're the coach. And then every time they would cut to the Burkina Faso coach, he was like yelling, giving instructions, applauding, giving encouragement, like geeing up his guys. We didn't see any of that from Gonzalo Segares. And there's been a lot of criticism of him, and I think rightfully so. He hasn't got this team playing to the sum of their parts so far.
Yeah,
Let's see what they look like the rest of the tournament.
the U20 side with far less talented looked like a more cohesive team. This one, I guess, like what's ultimately going to happen is the U20 somehow punched above their weight for the talent that they had, in my opinion, the way they were performing. Well, this team today, despite the win, it looks like we can do better. The players are
Yeah.
better than what we're performing. And I mean, there's still time. They can grow into the tournament. But the coach, I'm giving him a 5 because I think the only reason he got the win was the team out talented the opponent. That's the only reason
Yeah.
he got the win.
Our two best players had a very good moment,
Yes, that's the only reason he got the win, and we could have very well gotten a loss. Like I said, if Burkina Faso scores that early goal, I don't think we bounce back from it. So he just got bailed out by talent today. We'll see how he does the next 2 games.
Yeah. Speaking of the next two games, let's talk about the lineup for the next game.
Hmm.
I would probably go with the same lineup, and I would just take out Burchimas for Cavan. Um,
Would you
the only other
try? Would you
would you
try maybe
Adams,
like another player, like a maybe Mateo Tsakiris, maybe playing the double pivot as a more defensive role or something like that?
it's possible. I'm open to it. Like for me, I haven't seen enough of the substitutes to really say for sure this guy would be better. Um, it was also a very physical team, and I think that both Jude Terry and Cooper Sanchez struggled with their physicality. So I don't want to judge too harshly yet. If they look bad again against, fucking Tajikistan, then yeah, that's a very different story. I wouldn't mind giving them another chance. I would take off Berchamas, let Sullivan start. I also wouldn't hate it if Chase Adams got a start, to be honest, just to see what he looks like. But he wasn't even brought off the bench, so I doubt very much he's going to start Chase Adams over Julian Hall. I also have not seen Chase Adams, so I can't definitively say, oh, he's better than Julian Hall. You know,
Hmm. Well, he probably is not,
no, he
based on
probably is not. I
yeah,
mean, Hall is playing in MLS. He's playing in MLS Next Pro. There's completely different levels there.
yeah.
So we'll see. Let's see what this team looks like on Saturday, and we'll kind of get an idea. Maybe they might look very good. If we don't look good against Tajikistan, that's bad. That is
Hmm.
bad. But at least we get the win today, and very likely, guys, with a win on Saturday, we're through. Honestly, even with a draw on Saturday, we're probably through.
Yeah, but we can't
4
draw
points.
Tajikistan.
No, you can't draw. You cannot.
No.
You cannot draw with Tajikistan. We have to win that. Hopefully, these boys pull it together. The result was good, and maybe it's something to build on. Any
Mhm.
last thoughts?
No, I'll see you guys probably next week. Saturday, I won't be able to do the stream. You gotta just figure out what you're
Is it
doing.
is it at the same time on Saturday?
I believe so. It's in the morning.
If it's the same time, so I'll be in Chicago, so that will be
I'll tell you right now the time we play.
9:15 for me.
They play 9:45 my time, so it's like 30 minutes earlier than today.
Possibly. I have work in Chicago. I don't know yet what time, guys, so I'll kind of have to play it by ear. There's a
Same.
chance I'll do the live watch along. We'll see. It depends, what I have going on. But if not, then we'll see you guys for the Czech Republic game next week.
Yeah, that one we're good. All right.
All right, guys. Have a great one. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you all soon.